As we come on the air, growing tributes to the woman shot and killed by an ICE agent in Minneapolis this week. This is a live look at the Capitol right now, where a vigil is just beginning for 37-year-old Renee Good. This is part of Minnesota's Day of Unity, proclaimed by Governor Walz. Thank you for joining us. I'm Rena Sargentopoulos. The memorials and tributes honoring Good come as we hear from her family for the first time since the deadly shooting. Good's wife released a statement today, thanking everyone who has reached out to her family, calling all the kindness from strangers a fitting tribute for Renee, since, quote, above all else, she was kind, adding that kindness radiated out of her. Good's wife goes on to say that everyone who did know her knew that she sparkled, saying she was made of sunshine. In another major development today, we are seeing new video of the deadly shooting recorded by the very ICE agent who opened fire. Lou Raguse has been reviewing the video here to walk us through all of it. Lou, this is incredible video.
Yeah, I mean, this is new, and not only that, but until now, we didn't realize that video existed from ICE officer Jonathan Ross's perspective. It now appears he was filming on his cell phone his entire brief interaction, including the shooting.
A 47-second video recorded by ICE officer Jonathan Ross captures his interaction with Renee Good behind the wheel.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you. Show your face.
And her wife Becca, who's filming him.
It'll be the same fight when you come talk to us later.
In the seconds before the shooting.
You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Now the car.
Officer Ross was still holding the phone when he fired the shots.
Oh!
And the video ends as the car crashes.
Now we have use of force experts reviewing the video, and we'll share how it changes their previous analysis that they gave us, if at all. That's coming up at 5 and 6. Now this morning, Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty and Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison held a press conference to announce an evidence collection effort aside from the formal FBI investigation. This comes after the FBI initially agreed to a joint investigation with the BCA, then reversed course, not allowing the BCA to access any evidence. Moriarty unveiled a QR code. People with direct information, statements, or video from the case can submit it to her office, where it would then be turned over to the BCA. But she acknowledges the FBI maintains control of physical pieces of evidence, including Renee Good's car, and right now is not willing to give state investigators access.
In a normal investigation, the BCA would take the car, do their own forensic analysis, fingerprints, DNA, that kind of stuff, all of that kind of stuff. But they have not done that in this case, which would have been fine and would still be fine if the BCA could have access to the results.
Now, I specifically asked Moriarty if it is possible to make a charging decision without such important pieces of physical evidence, and she said it's too early to tell. Now, Rena, just in the last 10 minutes, the BCA sent out a statement responding to that. They said that they characterize it as limited assistance to the Hennepin County Attorney's Office with the collection and preservation of video and other evidence with the goal of it not being lost. And they added that they will then forward it on to the FBI, who are leading the investigation.
All right, so we still don't know exactly what's going to happen locally, how much information we're going to get, whether there's going to be any charges. We don't know any of that.
Well,
at this point.
all experts say it's nearly impossible for the county attorney to be able to file charges because they will not have access to the main evidence as we just showed in this case.
All right. Thank you, Lou. Appreciate it. Some tense moments today in Minneapolis as pro and anti-ICE protesters confronted each other. This is at the Whipple Federal Building at Fort Snelling in Minneapolis, and people are still gathered there now. That is where we find Gordon Severson live. And Gordon, what's the mood like there right now?
Well, it's a lot more quiet than it was earlier this afternoon. The federal agents across the street are only intervening when it comes to clearing the street when cars are coming by. They're starting to get a little louder here, but it was the most tense moment was this afternoon, starting around 1 o'clock when a handful of pro-ICE, pro-Trump supporters came to make their voices heard. Up until that point, it was exclusively anti-ICE supporters here. When those pro-Trump supporters came, the crowd immediately surrounded them. ICE agents had to intervene and clear the crowd a few times. We did speak with protesters on both sides to learn more about why they wanted to be here today.
First and foremost, we care about our immigrant communities. We care about our immigrant neighbors. I love people. I don't care who they are. I agree that violent criminals should be taken off the streets no matter whether they're citizens or not. But They are just going and taking random people. They have taken kids.
To show that there's more than just this type of sport in Minneapolis.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
You know, I support what they're trying. I support what they're tasked for. I voted for what they're tasked for.
Okay.
So go out and do their job. If you wouldn't get in their way, they wouldn't be able to do what they would need to do. You wouldn't even know they're there. You would zero know they're there if you didn't go out and seek them out.
Now, we've only seen 2 arrests today that happened pretty early on before any of the pro-ICE supporters came out here. It happened when one female protester happened right in front of us, smacked her hand on a federal vehicle as it drove by. ICE agents got out of the vehicle, grabbed her, arrested her, and also arrested another man who was also involved. But other than that, we have not seen any other arrests. A couple of times they've launched smoke and some sort of deterrence to clear the crowd. But other than that, very little violence here at the scene.
Well, here's hoping that stays that way. All right. Thank you, Gordon. Minneapolis Public Schools families and educators are coming together demanding that ICE stay out of Minnesota schools. Several groups, including the Teachers Union, held a press conference this morning in part to condemn Border Patrol activity that ended at Roosevelt High School on Wednesday. Videos show students were hit with chemical agents, but DHS says no tear gas was deployed. Parents spoke about how they're supporting immigrant neighbors by guarding pickup and drop-off and getting families those necessities.
And we are demanding that every elected official and decision maker use the full extent of their power to get ICE out of Minnesota. We want them out of our neighborhoods, out of our schools, and out of our state.
Minneapolis is not alone. Education leaders from across the state came together this morning urging immigration officials to keep ICE out of Minnesota schools. They shared stories of children missing class along with the emotional toll on some students who are no longer feeling safe at school.
We give everything that we have to support and protect Minnesota's next generation. We need our federal government to do the same.
Everyone is scared and angry. Teachers feel helpless to protect their students. Students are not coming to school. Learning is being lost. Learning every child has a right to.
Educators say some families are unenrolling or turning to online learning out of fear. Minneapolis Public Schools is giving that option to students through February 12th.
I'm Lauren Lemanchek over at the Live Desk now. There's a new effort by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security to target what they call fraudulent refugee applications here in Minnesota. It's called Operation Paris, and they say they plan to re-examine thousands of refugee cases through new background checks and intensive verification of refugee claims. They'll refer cases of fraud to ICE. The initial focus, according to a news release, is on Minnesota's 5,600 refugees who have not been given lawful permanent status. Now, we haven't gotten a response yet from Minnesota authorities about this effort, but it is another step in this immigration crackdown in our state, a crackdown that is growing as we speak, with more than 100 agents and officers moving from Chicago and New Orleans to the Twin Cities. That is according to the New York Times, all part of a surge expected to last through the weekend. Rena?
All right. Thank you, Lauren. As DHS enforcement continues here at home, there is a similar situation happening in Portland, Oregon, where 2 people were shot by a Border Patrol agent. DHS says the victims are Venezuelan gang associates and that officials were trying to do a vehicle stop when the altercation turned violent. DHS says as agents tried to pull them over, the driver tried to run over an officer. They say the agent feared for their life and then fired shots. The injured victims then drove to an apartment complex about 3 miles away and called 911. We do not have an update on their conditions, but we do know they were taken to the hospital.